Welcome to the eFootball Stories, a series where we dive into the greatest players, biggest moments, and untold stories in football history. While you enjoy today's gameplay, we'll take a journey through the careers that shaped the beautiful game. Some became legends, others fell short of their potential, but every story changed football forever. In today's episode, we are talking about one of the most gifted players the sport has ever seen. Neymar Jr. From the streets of Brazil to becoming the world's most expensive footballer, his career has been filled with unbelievable talent, unforgettable moments, and heartbreaking setbacks. This is the story of Neymar Jr. When people talk about the most talented footballers to ever touch a ball, one name is almost always mentioned: Neymar Jr. Some believe he could have become the greatest player of his generation. Others think injuries, pressure, and the choices he made stopped him from reaching the very top. But no matter which side you're on, one thing is impossible to deny. Neymar was different. His story begins thousands of miles away from the bright lights of Europe's biggest stadiums, in a city called Mogi das Cruzes, Brazil, where he was born on February 5, 1992. Football wasn't just a hobby in Brazil, it was a way of life. Children played barefoot in the streets, on beaches, in small neighborhoods, anywhere they could find a ball. Neymar was no different. His father, Neymar Santos Sr., had once dreamed of becoming a professional footballer himself. Although he never reached the highest level, he recognized something special in his son almost immediately. From the moment Neymar could walk, he always had a football at his feet. His dribbling, balance, and creativity stood out even against children much older than him. As word spread, local coaches couldn't believe what they were seeing. Neymar wasn't simply scoring goals, he was entertaining people. Every touch, every trick, every nutmeg seemed effortless. It didn't take long before Brazil's biggest clubs started paying attention. At just 11 years old, Neymar joined the youth academy of Santos FC, one of the most famous clubs in Brazilian football and the club where the legendary Pelé had built his legacy decades earlier. That comparison alone carried enormous pressure. Could this young boy really follow in the footsteps of the greatest player Brazil had ever produced? Most players would have crumbled under those expectations. Neymar embraced them. Every year he became faster, stronger, and even more technically gifted. Coaches often struggled to find defenders capable of stopping him. His highlights spread across Brazil before he had even played a professional match. Then came something almost unbelievable. When Neymar was only 14 years old, Spanish giants Real Madrid invited him to train with their youth academy. The club was so impressed that they wanted to sign him immediately. Many thought this would be the beginning of his European journey. But Neymar and his family made a decision that would change everything. Instead of moving to Spain, he stayed in Brazil. Santos believed he wasn't just another talented youngster. They believed he was the future of the club. And soon, the rest of the football world would find out why. At just 17 years old, Neymar finally made his professional debut for Santos. It didn't take long before everyone realized this wasn't just another talented youngster. Every week, stadiums filled with fans hoping to witness something special. And Neymar rarely disappointed. His dazzling dribbles, incredible speed, and fearless confidence made defenders look helpless. He wasn't just scoring goals, he was putting on a show. As the months went by, Neymar became the face of Brazilian football. Newspapers compared him to Pelé, while television stations dedicated entire segments to his performances. Soon, clips of his skills spread across the internet, introducing millions of football fans around the world to the young Brazilian sensation. In 2010, he helped Santos win the Copa do Brasil, proving he could deliver on the biggest stages. But the following year would be even more important. Santos reached the Copa Libertadores, South America's most prestigious club competition, the same tournament Pelé had dominated decades earlier. Neymar became the star of the tournament, leading Santos all the way to the final. When they lifted the trophy, it was the club's first Libertadores title in almost 50 years. Brazil had officially found its next superstar. That same year, Neymar scored one of the most unforgettable goals of his career against Flamengo. After dribbling past multiple defenders with incredible ease, he calmly finished the move before celebrating with a huge smile. The goal won the FIFA Puskas Award for the best goal of the year and became one of the defining moments of his early career. By now, every major club in Europe wanted him. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Manchester City, everyone dreamed of signing Neymar. The question was no longer if he would leave Brazil. The only question left was, where would football's brightest young star go next? But despite interest from almost every top club in Europe, Neymar had already made his decision. There was only one destination he truly wanted: FC Barcelona. On May 26, 2013, Barcelona officially announced the signing of Neymar Jr. The transfer had been one of the biggest stories in world football for years, and now it was finally complete. At just 21 years old, Neymar was leaving Brazil for the first time, stepping into a completely different world. He wasn't just joining another football club, he was joining one of the biggest institutions in sports history. For Neymar, this move meant more than a new challenge. It was the opportunity to prove that he could succeed at the highest level of European football. But it also came with enormous pressure. At Santos, he had been the star of the team. Every attack went through him, every fan looked up to him, and every defender feared him. Barcelona would be different. Waiting for him was Lionel Messi, already considered by millions to be the greatest player in the world. Alongside him were experienced stars like Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, Sergio Busquets, and Dani Alves, players who had dominated world football for years. Neymar wasn't arriving as the main attraction anymore. He had to earn the respect of a dressing room full of legends. The adaptation wasn't easy. European football was faster, more physical, and far more tactical than what he had experienced in Brazil. Defenders didn't give him time to think. Every mistake was punished, every performance analyzed by the media, and every touch of the ball compared to the incredible standards Barcelona fans had become used to. Despite the pressure, Neymar showed flashes of brilliance almost immediately. His close control, explosive pace, and fearless dribbling excited supporters every time he touched the ball. He scored his first goal for Barcelona in the Spanish Super Cup against Atletico Madrid, helping the club lift its first trophy of the season. It wasn't a spectacular beginning, but it was an important first step. Throughout his debut season, Neymar continued to grow. There were moments of magic, moments of frustration, and moments where critics questioned whether he could truly replace the generation that had made Barcelona the best team in the world. But inside the club, nobody doubted his talent. They knew they weren't just developing another great player, they were shaping one of football's future superstars. By the end of the 2013-14 season, Barcelona had fallen short of expectations. They missed out on La Liga, were eliminated from the Champions League, and the club knew changes were needed. That summer, a new manager arrived, Luis Enrique. But he wasn't the only major addition. Barcelona also completed the signing of Luis Suarez from Liverpool after an incredible season in the Premier League. Nobody could have predicted what would happen next. Three of the most gifted attacking players in the world were about to share the same pitch. Together, Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and Neymar Jr. would create one of the most iconic attacking trios football had ever seen. The world would soon know them by just three letters: MSN. The arrival of Luis Suarez in the summer of 2014 changed everything. On paper, Barcelona now had three superstars in attack. But many football experts believed it simply wouldn't work. Three players who all wanted the ball, all wanted to score, and all wanted to be the difference. Some predicted ego clashes. Others thought there wasn't enough room for all three to shine. Those doubts disappeared almost immediately. Instead of competing against each other, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar formed a friendship that extended far beyond the football pitch. They celebrated together, trained together, laughed together, and most importantly, trusted each other. It wasn't about who scored the most goals. It was about winning. Luis Enrique understood that the three attackers needed freedom. Rather than forcing them into a strict tactical system, he allowed them to express themselves. The result was devastating for every opponent they faced. Messi controlled the game with his vision. Suarez brought relentless movement and finishing, while Neymar added flair, creativity, and unpredictability. Defenders had no answers. If they stopped one, the other two would punish them. As the season progressed, Barcelona became stronger every single week. They dominated possession, created countless chances, and overwhelmed teams with their speed in transition. Neymar was no longer just an exciting young talent from Brazil. He was becoming one of the best players in the world. His confidence continued to grow. He wasn't afraid to take on defenders, attempt impossible skills, or shoot from difficult angles. While some players avoided pressure, Neymar seemed to enjoy it. The bigger the occasion, the more dangerous he became. Barcelona finished the season by winning La Liga, proving they were once again the strongest team in Spain. But they weren't done yet. They also reached the Copa del Rey final, defeating Athletic Bilbao to lift another trophy. Only one challenge remained: the UEFA Champions League. Throughout the tournament, Barcelona looked unstoppable. They eliminated Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain, and Bayern Munich on their way to the final in Berlin. Neymar played a crucial role, scoring important goals at every stage of the competition and forming an almost telepathic understanding with Messi and Suarez. On June 6, 2015, Barcelona faced Juventus in the Champions League final. It was one of the biggest nights of Neymar's career. The match ended in a 3-1 victory for Barcelona, with Neymar scoring the final goal in stoppage time. As the final whistle blew, Barcelona had completed the historic treble: La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League, all in a single season. For many football fans, this was the greatest version of Neymar. He played with complete freedom, surrounded by teammates who understood him perfectly. His smile had returned, his confidence was at its peak, and it seemed like the only question left was when he would eventually win the Ballon d'Or. But football can change incredibly quickly. Just 2 years later, Neymar would make a decision that shocked the entire football world. A decision that many people still debate to this day. A decision that would define the rest of his career. There was even a growing belief among football fans that Neymar deserved far more recognition than he received that season. While Lionel Messi would go on to win the 2015 Ballon d'Or, many supporters argued that Neymar's performances throughout the year had been just as influential. He scored in the Champions League final, finished as one of the competition's top scorers alongside Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, and played a crucial role in Barcelona's historic treble. Some believed he had done enough to win football's most prestigious individual award, while others felt playing alongside Messi made it almost impossible for him to step out of his teammate's shadow. Whether he should have won the Ballon d'Or or not remains one of football's biggest debates. But one thing was undeniable: Neymar had officially established himself as one of the 3 best players in the world. At only 23 years old, it felt like the future belonged to him. Many believed it was only a matter of time before he became the best player on the planet. The following season, Barcelona remained one of the strongest teams in Europe. The chemistry between Messi, Suarez, and Neymar only continued to improve. Every weekend, fans tuned in expecting moments of brilliance, and more often than not, the trio delivered. Goals, assists, impossible dribbles, and unforgettable celebrations became the new normal. Watching MSN wasn't just about football, it was entertainment. Then came a night that would forever be remembered as one of the greatest matches in Champions League history. On February 14, 2017, Barcelona travelled to Paris to face Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of the round of 16. What followed was a disaster. PSG completely dominated the game, winning 4-0. Barcelona looked helpless. For the first time in years, the team seemed broken. No club had ever come back from a 4-goal deficit in the Champions League knockout stage. Most fans had already accepted elimination. The media called it impossible. But inside the Barcelona dressing room, there was still belief. And one player, more than anyone else, refused to give up: Neymar Jr. The second leg at the Camp Nou would become one of the most unforgettable nights in football history. Barcelona needed to score at least 4 goals just to have a chance of staying alive. Almost nobody believed it was possible. With just minutes remaining, Barcelona still needed 3 more goals. Then Neymar took over. He scored a stunning free kick, calmly converted a penalty under immense pressure, and in the final seconds delivered the perfect cross for Sergio Roberto to score the winning goal. Barcelona had completed an impossible comeback, winning 6-1 and advancing 6-5 on aggregate. It became known simply as La Remontada, the greatest comeback in Champions League history. For many fans, that night wasn't about Messi or Suarez. It was Neymar's masterpiece. It showed the world that he was capable of carrying a team on the biggest stage. Ironically, just a few months later, he would make the biggest decision of his career, a decision that would change football forever. Just a few months after the greatest night of his Barcelona career, Neymar shocked the football world. In the summer of 2017, Paris Saint-Germain activated his €222 million release clause, making him the most expensive footballer in history, a record that still stands today. The move divided football fans. Some believed Neymar simply wanted a new challenge. Others felt he wanted to step out of Lionel Messi's shadow and finally build a legacy of his own. For years, many had said he could never win the Ballon d'Or while playing alongside Messi. In Paris, he would finally have the chance to become the main star. His start at PSG was outstanding. Neymar produced goals, assists, and moments of magic almost every week. When he was fit, he looked unstoppable. Many believed this was finally the season he would lead a club to Champions League glory as its undisputed leader. But just as his career seemed ready to reach another level, bad luck struck. Injuries became a constant problem. Year after year, he missed crucial Champions League knockout matches, and critics began questioning whether he would ever fulfill the incredible potential everyone had seen in Barcelona. Despite the setbacks, Neymar still enjoyed success in France, winning multiple Ligue 1 titles and becoming one of PSG's greatest ever players statistically. In 2020, he came closer than ever to achieving his dream, leading PSG to their first Champions League final. But Bayern Munich proved too strong, winning 1-0 and denying Neymar the trophy he desperately wanted. Although his numbers remained incredible, injuries and inconsistency prevented him from dominating football the way many had expected. The Ballon d'Or that once seemed inevitable slowly slipped further and further away. In 2023, Neymar left Europe and joined Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. Once again, injuries limited his impact, and after a difficult spell, he eventually returned to the club where it had all begun, Santos FC. For football fans around the world, it felt like the story had come full circle. Neymar's career will always divide opinions. Some see him as one of the greatest players of his generation. Others believe he could have achieved even more. But one thing is certain: very few players have ever entertained football fans the way Neymar did. His creativity, fearless dribbling, and unforgettable moments inspired millions. He may never have won the Ballon d'Or, but he gave the world something just as valuable: memories that football fans will never forget. While his club career was filled with success, Neymar carried an even greater responsibility every time he wore the famous yellow shirt of Brazil. From a young age, he wasn't just expected to be another great player. He was expected to become the nation's next hero after legends like Pelé, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and Kaká. The pressure was unlike anything he had experienced before. In the 2014 FIFA World Cup, hosted in Brazil, millions believed Neymar could lead his country to glory on home soil. He started the tournament brilliantly, scoring 4 goals and becoming the heart of the Brazilian team. But everything changed in the quarter-final against Colombia. After being challenged from behind by Juan Zuniga, Neymar suffered a fractured vertebra in his back. His World Cup was over. Without their biggest star, Brazil collapsed. Just days later, they suffered one of the most painful defeats in football history, losing 7-1 to Germany in the semi-finals. Many fans still wonder how different that tournament could have been if Neymar had been fit. While nobody can know for certain, there is little doubt that losing him changed everything. Over the years, Neymar continued to break records for his national team. He became Brazil's all-time top goalscorer, surpassing Pelé's official goal tally, a milestone that once seemed almost impossible. Yet despite all his individual achievements, the one trophy he wanted most, the FIFA World Cup, always remained out of reach. Perhaps that's why Neymar's career is remembered with so much emotion. He achieved things that most footballers can only dream of, yet many supporters still believe they never saw the very best version of him. Whether because of injuries, bad timing, or difficult decisions, his story will forever be one of football's greatest what ifs. But Neymar's story with Brazil was never only about disappointment. In 2016, he captained his country at the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. Brazil had won almost every major trophy in football, but Olympic gold had always escaped them. The final against Germany ended 1-1 and had to be decided by penalties. With the chance to make history, Neymar stepped forward for the final kick. He sent the goalkeeper the wrong way and gave Brazil its first ever Olympic gold medal in men's football. It was one of the most emotional moments of his career and proof that, despite all the pressure, he could still deliver when an entire nation depended on him. Now, the biggest question is what comes next. Neymar's career has already given us incredible goals, unforgettable skills, painful injuries, and moments that will live forever. But could there still be one final chapter waiting for him? Will we see Neymar at the 2030 World Cup? He will be 38 years old by then, so it may seem unlikely. But with a player like Neymar, nothing has ever been completely predictable. Maybe his final World Cup has already passed. Or maybe, years from now, we will see him wearing Brazil's number 10 one last time, chasing the only major trophy still missing from his story. Until then, all we can do is wait and remember the player who made football feel like art. Love him or hate him, one thing is certain: there will never be another Neymar Jr. And maybe that's the greatest legacy a footballer can leave behind. Not that everyone remembers your trophies, but that an entire generation wanted to play football because of you. Thank you for everything, Neymar. You'll always be my favorite football player of all history. And with that, we've reached the end of Neymar's incredible story. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this documentary as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me create more videos like this. And let me know down in the comments, which football player should I cover next? Whether it's Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Eden Hazard, or someone else entirely, I want to hear your suggestions. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.